Hello and welcome, everyone. Whether you're seeing this through our newsletter or whether you're seeing this on Instagram or a link from my Facebook page, thank you for joining me. I felt the need to do the first newsletter via video because a lot of times I articulate better speaking out loud. I think and I feel, for me it's true, for others it may be true as well. Our epiphanies come from speaking our truth. That's, even if we're in processing and we're just exploring about how we're feeling, a lot of moments and a lot of my greatest epiphanies have come from just speaking what I'm feeling. No matter how irrational my brain may tell me I am, it will come forth. So, wow, what a few weeks. I feel the pressure. I have gone through some major upset, and coming out on the other side of that, while I'm still in process, while I'm still coming through that, I find a common theme is showing up for so many people, and I really wanted to share the insight that I have about this. We all are in a space where we're transversing our journey, no matter where we are at, no matter where we've come from, no matter what work we've done. There may come a time where an action, a moment, a situation causes us great upset. It triggers us. It brushes up against something in our heart that has happened to us that is really familiar, and our brain wants us to go into overload. For example, let me share my example, because speaking our truth again is so important, and I want you to understand that. I came up against a situation where something or a situation or the way something was said caused me to go into the space of great upset. It brushed up against the feeling and that seed of doubt that I seem to I take it out, I process it, and it continues to grow. And growing up, I have always I've always been under the assumption that what I have done is not enough. I've not worked hard enough. I'm not smart enough. I didn't do enough. That is it is so common in so many of us women, I feel, and men too. And it shows up in our lives over and over and over again in many situations. When I became consciously aware of what I was feeling, I did a lot of work to grow confidence within myself, to really work at it in understanding that all of the things that were said to me were said out of a filter that was not my own, that was not true to who I was. But it still caused me to carry that thought throughout my life. And believe me when I say I've done a lot of work, because I have, because that is the cornerstone of a lot of my other emotional upsets, is that feeling that I'm not working hard enough. I'm not in my spiritual practice enough. Because yes, my spiritual friends, we can too use the idea of our spirituality against ourselves, to hurt ourselves, to make ourselves feel less than. It's a fact. And I thought I had reached a certain place. And then I brushed up, and I don't mean physically, I mean energetically. I energetically brushed up against a situation that felt really familiar to a situation in my life that has triggered that feeling of the not enough. And I brushed up energetically against that situation. And sure as I know myself, I went right back to those feelings. I went right back there again. And this caused me to be in the biggest upset that I have felt in a long time. Our brain, our reptilian brain, has the fight or flight mechanism. So when this has happened, or happened to you or to me, or whatever situation, trauma or otherwise has happened, our reptilian brain causes a way to keep us safe. So my brain teaches me to play small. So it uses a seed of doubt about who I am, what I do, what I share, what I offer, to keep me from speaking my truth, of being who I am. It keeps me in that small state, playing small. We all talk about that. So my brain immediately went into hyperdrive, and I noticed it and I reacted within it. And it was a litany that was it went through a whole weekend and into the next week. And it caused me to really start to feel that doubt, to own that doubt that I felt. And it wasn't until I spoke with my therapist. Everybody needs a therapist. It's great because you can talk and speak your truth to someone, and they can say it back to you and let you know how that sounds outside of what you're in your head. And I was using a lot of my knowledge, whether it be psychology, whether it be spiritual, against myself. I know what I need to do. I know the process that I need to go through to heal that. Why am I here again? I should know better. I spiritually know how to cleanse and heal and release and why. So there was this conversation in my brain, one-sided, mind you, that was telling me that I was wrong for feeling the way I was feeling. So, and most of you right there, it should have been a trigger that I was telling myself I was wrong. Emotions and feelings cannot be right or wrong. They just are. They're a reaction to a moment in time, and whether that moment in time was similar to something that happened to us a long time ago, it's still a moment in time, and it's still an emotion. And at that point, my heart, my emotions, my emotional body just wanted to be heard. I just wanted to be heard about how I felt and how I felt. I felt doubt. I felt scared. I felt afraid, and I just needed to be heard internally and allow myself to feel these feelings. And I needed to realize I'm human. And of course, at moments like that, especially moments that hit up against something that's deeply woven within us, there's always going to be little roots and tentacles that we may not have eradicated from that situation. Why am I sharing this? Because I really want to validate how you feel. When, being who I am, being the healer, being the listener, being the friend, the coach, whatever it is I am in any one of my roles, I will always say to people, we need to accept where we are in order to hear how to move forward. But yet, we're all human. Even though I have all this knowledge and understanding, I still experience human emotion. I still experience the same thing we are all experiencing. When you go into upset and your brain is trying to shut you down, shut an emotion down, how many of you, let me ask you this question, how many of you rationalize your pain? Like, for example, because I'm empathetic and understanding and have compassion in every moment, whether somebody else has hurt me or whether a situation causes me sadness or pain, I rationalize it by having understanding. I use my empathy and my compassion against myself by rationalizing it, telling myself, you don't have the right to feel that way. How many of you do that? I mean, be honest, be perfectly honest with yourself right now in this situation, because when you realize how much you shut how you feel down by either rationalizing it or not allowing it to show up because you think it's stupid, irrational. Why? You don't have to know why. Your brain doesn't need a reason for you to feel what you're feeling. You need not know why you're feeling what you're feeling. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're feeling that way. And in that moment of emotion, what you need is somebody to hear you. To hear you. Usually we need ourselves to hear us. But because the brain is so afraid and tries to keep you safe and alive and survive, our brain is a great tool because it's kept us living to now. But at a certain point in our emotional growth, we need to take charge of that and say, okay, even if I talk to my brain, I talk to my crazies. You have to. I'm like, okay, brain, I get it. But I'm really feeling this way right now. And I want to honor how I feel, no matter what you may think it be irrational or not. See, the biggest part of our light, the biggest part of our gifts in this world are underneath our emotions and our heart. That's where our light lies. And when we have emotional upset that causes the brain to get out of control, it starts to take that light and start to dim it. It starts to focus our attention somewhere else so we don't process and feel what we feel and reach the core gem of what's inside. So I encourage you this month, especially in the tail end of this Venus retrograde, which I'm going to speak to in a minute. Feel what you feel. Allow yourself to feel it. If you have to just feel it by crying, by emoting, by writing, by screaming in a place where people won't think that you're going to die. But if find a space where you can just feel what you feel and allow it to be. Be part of what you're feeling. Just be a part of it. Understand it. And even if you don't, just say, look, I'm here for you. Say to yourself what you would say to your most nearest and dearest. Because in honoring that, you diffuse that emotion. How many of you, honestly, how many of you wish you could never feel an emotion again or feel the pain or the sadness of an event ever again? All of us. All of us, I'm sure of it. The reason why we have that reoccurring cycle is because we've never stopped to allow ourselves to honor how we really felt to begin with. We've never allowed ourselves the room to emote in whatever way we need to, whether it's grief, anger, sadness, whether it's crying. We don't allow ourselves to feel those emotions. We're very linear. We are such linear humans where we always just want to feel good. We want to feel happy and upbeat, and we want to feel in control of our lives and our emotions. And if it doesn't fall in line with what society or our family or we tell ourselves, then we're wrong. We're wrong for feeling sad because we had a moment where something reminded us of deep pain inside. Or say I had an argument with a loved one and I felt sad because of it, or I'm just missing the presence of someone, or I experienced my seed of doubt within myself. No matter what it is, we want to just cover it up. We want to just bury it because it's wrong. Those emotions are wrong because they're not happy. They're not joyful. They're not, they're not gratification. They're not part of our makeup. We always think being sad and upset or depressed is negative. And while it's not an emotion I want to stay in, it's a legitimate emotion. It's legitimate. We're going to have highs and lows. We're humans. We experience life at different ways, at different moments. And, and I think if we just allow ourselves to be more human, I think the pressure we put on ourselves would just release just a little bit. Would just give us space to process. After my therapist slowed my crazy train down that was in my head, she's like, you can't use your psychology and your spiritual knowledge to beat yourself up with. What's going on? And after she gave me perspective, she's like, you're human. And I guarantee all of you are as well. I know you're human. Please allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to process your feelings. Allow them to show up, because when you suppress them, they get bigger. They get bigger. If you're sad or upset and you stuff that emotion down, every time after that you get into a situation that is similar to the one that made you sad and upset, you're going to be more sad. It's going to be bigger. The emotions are going to be more dramatic because you've not allowed yourself, from the 6 other times you felt that way, to feel your emotion. How can you get off that crazy train? You just allow yourself to feel it. Write it out. Say it out loud. Have a conversation with a friend. Have a conversation with a loved one. It doesn't have to be the one that caused you to feel that way. It's just allowing yourself to process and allowing yourself to realize, I'm human and I'm going to feel this human emotion. I really encourage you. It's so freeing and liberating to allow yourself to feel what you feel. It's honoring you in your deepest sense, because when we don't connect with our heart, life becomes unfulfilling. It becomes stagnant. You kind of go through the motions of life and you're like, why bother? We're so up here. I am too. I'm a Gemini. I love my left brain. It is like constantly processing. It is one of my greatest assets, but it's also one of my greatest hurdles because I am so cerebral. So take a minute every day, just not even a minute, 5 minutes, 1 minute, whatever. And just say to yourself out loud or in your head, how do I feel? How are you feeling today? And whatever shows up, whatever emotion, if you feel sadness, if you're feeling angst, anger, admit it. Say, okay, I feel sad today. I feel anxious today. I feel angry today. And just sit with it for a second. It doesn't mean you're going to get stuck here, because those emotions are fleeting. They're momentary, and you will get to the other side of them once you just allow them to exist in your life. If you have questions or need help, reach out to your support system, the people in your life that support you. You can reach out to me. I mean, if you need ideas, tips, how to process, what to do with it. I just want to let you guys know that there's a reason why this is coming up for so many people. And I thought, when you're in your growth and you're in your stuff, you're like, oh, it's just me that's experiencing this. And then all of a sudden it's like, everybody's like, hello, why do I feel this way? And it's like, oh my gosh, it isn't just me. So I thought, okay, there's something going on here. The commonality to all of this right now is Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde, while it is so many things, and I am not like, I'm not an astrologer, but I know enough to make me dangerous. Venus retrograde, Venus is about our relationships. And when we first went into retrograde, I thought, oh, here we go. I got work to do, because in certain relationships that needed work. Well, little did I know that the most and the biggest relationship that I had to work with was the one with myself. because that's the one that needs the most work. I did the work where it was needed outside with other people, but what it's come down to, and the crescendo of this Venus retrograde, is about the relationship with me. And that's why a lot of you may be feeling like you're struggling internally. You're kind of angsty. You're not feeling centered in your being. That's why. We're in Venus retrograde. It's all about reviewing and examination. And it's going to bring up some of the old stuff from the underworld. So lo and behold, that moment that I energetically brushed up against that caused me that spiral into the idea of doubting myself, of just being one, and some people think, oh, healers say this and they're not really experiencing the level of pain that I feel. Let me explain something to you. It got so bad this weekend where I was ready to give up being a writer and being a healer. That's how bad my brain was trying to keep me small and shut me down, and because of whatever emotion that hit all of that feeling that was generated as a young kid. So be careful. When we're in these retrogrades, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay? Don't make sudden rash decisions. Just allow yourself to be, allow yourself to process, allow yourself to be human. I promise you, you're amazing, and your light is within, right after that emotion. It's in your heart. That's your greatest gift. It really is. So take care of yourself. I know when people say to me, you have to love yourself more. Yeah, right. Okay, let me get on that. I've been on that for 9 years. And you do make progress. And when you have great support systems, when you put them in place and use them, some people think, oh, you're a healer and you have a therapist? Yeah. We all need someone that has to listen to us, that we can. I talk a lot, and the hour goes by really fast. But I get why I'm there every time. And it's so important to keep us realistic about the relationship with ourselves. We have to have courage to do certain things. And some people may not think having a therapist is courage. Well, I've been resisting it for months now. And when I finally decided to go do that, so many epiphanies, so many aha moments for me, so much growth happened, like bing, 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 right away. Because I was taking care of me by getting the support that I needed. I had everybody in place, my spiritual support, my mental, emotional support, and my physical support with my massage therapist. Everybody's in place. And once I did that, it fell in line. Now, don't take that as I'm telling you that you need all these people in place to do that. No, that's not necessary. For me, that was necessary, but it may not be necessary for you. But I encourage you to find help in the way that you find helps you, whether it be a life coach, a spiritual coach, a massage therapist, a therapist, whatever works for you, whatever makes you feel safe to express who you are and what you are in a totality, go for it. Find it. I implore you. There is a way, and the universe and the angels and your guides, they all support you in finding this. And when you find that right person, they're going to line everything up for you. I promise. Because they did for me, and I've seen it so many times. When you're in your flow, they just assist you. And if I can help in any way, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on my website, amyhedman.com. However you need to find me, you can find me. You can even reply to this newsletter if you're getting this through the newsletter. I want you to know that I love you all, and I support your journey no matter where you are. and I validate how you feel, because there's a reason why that feeling is real, and is a reason why it's there. I love you all. Have a blessed month. And please, if you're getting this through my newsletter, let me know. Would you rather videos, or would you rather read? I want to deliver my message to you in the way that fits your lifestyle. And I sometimes will do both, or one or the other. Like I said, when I talk, I channel. So messages come faster. And it's not so long. But anyways, I love you. Be well, my friends. Take care of yourself. Be your biggest fan. Take care.